Welcome back, everybody. We are here on Once Upon an Upside to talk about the last October movies before we jump into Christmas season. I am Jess, your host, and Kari is back with me.
Hey, everybody.
And so we have 4 movies, like I said, and we have some differing opinions for sure on me. So buckle in, it's going to be a ride.
Well, we do this. I think sometimes either we're like really in sync with how we liked a movie, and then other times we are just total opposites with how we experienced a movie. And I don't know why, like what plays into that sometimes, like when we watch it, the mood we're in when we watch something, like the low expectations or high expectations.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot that goes into play.
Yeah. And you just can't predict sometimes what makes a movie a high movie. I don't know. It's a funny one. It's a funny one to me.
For sure. Well, let's dive right into controversial movie number 1. Love It Sky Gardens. Here's the summary. Deirdre's life is split between her day job as barista and her passion for designing rooftop gardens. When Deirdre accidentally spills coffee on regular customer and event planner Marcus before a big meeting with his boss, it sets the wrong tone for him to discuss a job promotion. Deirdre offers to help Marcus get back on track by lending her rooftop garden design services for his boss's next big event, a wedding. His boss agrees to Deirdre's help, but also wants Jacob, Marcus's competition for the promotion, to co-plan the wedding. As they work around the clock together, Marcus and Deirdre notice something more about each other and love takes root. But a series of misunderstandings threaten to wilt their growing love. It will take a small miracle to bring them back together where love blossoms. Sky Gardens. Wow, that was a long summary. And okay, I need to preface, before we jump into this, I have to preface that all 4 of these movies were themed or centered around the theme of weddings. And so disclaimer, we know I don't typically like wedding movies. So
definitely
take anything I say with a grain of salt. Because
well, I thought of you when these 4 movies came up. I was like, okay, these are wedding movies. I wonder what Jess is gonna think. And then you texted us that you were like, I really liked one of these, you guys. I really like, and we were like, we wanted to guess which one. So I'm excited to hear you talk about that one. But I know it was not Love It Sky Gardens.
It was not Love It Sky Gardens.
Tell me why.
I think the biggest part for me was I don't know, the storyline didn't interest me, and I just didn't get the chemistry between these characters. I kind of thought Marcus was a jerk. Like, he came off as a jerk to me. So I'm like, I don't even like him that much. So
yeah.
I think my favorite part of this movie was actually Jake, even though he was super manipulative, but I found him like this very nice comic relief.
Yes.
Yes. But yeah, so I think you should tell me why you liked it.
Okay.
I need to know.
Let me tell you. I mean, just based on the movie posters that we get in the in our email, and we get our screeners and we watch these movies and stuff ahead of time, and or not ahead of time, whenever we can. But I looking at the screener, I was like, that one, it doesn't like grab me. I'm like, what is that even about? I can't even tell who it is, who these people are. So so I kind of went in with low expectations, which we know is always actually a pretty good way to go into some movies. So I thought Deidre was awesome. I thought she was so fresh. She was charming. She was beautiful, but she was like total girl next door, total down to earth. She works with tools. She likes to have her hands dirty in like this garden area. She had a real conflict, job conflict that she had to work out. She had this design, this exclusive rooftop garden design that she sold to Sky Gardens, and yet this other company wanted this same exclusive design, and she had to kind of like, I can't sell them the same design if they're wanting exclusive things. And so she had to really kind of come to a place where starting her business, she needed to start on the right foot and with integrity and stuff. So I thought she had like a really great dilemma going for her. She was funny, and she was, I don't know. I thought she was a highlight of this movie. I'd never seen her in anything before. And turns out she was in Kim's Convenience, that sitcom
Hmm.
about the Asian family. And, but she just had these great expressions. So anyway, she was highlight for me. All the side characters were hilarious. Like you said, Jacob, the guy at work, her, her roommate and the boyfriend, I think they were kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fiance, you know, who she wasn't funny, but she was very driven. So that's the other thing with this one, I guess. You know, she called him cute suit guy because when she worked in the she was
I
very
knew you were gonna like that.
Yeah.
You love the
She
nickname.
kind of had this name for him, cute suit guy, and he found out that like she called him that, and that was kind of a cute moment. But what was his name even? I mean, he was I have it right here. Hello, it's Marcus. He was kind of a jerk. I mean,
He insulted her for being a barista, and I'm like, girl, I would have thrown the coffee in his face for real that time.
And he's an assistant, like, you know, like he's an assistant to his boss. He's not even like he wants to work up to be a manager and stuff, but he was engaged, yet he was kind of like flirting with Deidre. And I mean, it definitely took me to the end for me to see his good qualities.
Yeah, that was another problem. And I think probably a big part of why it didn't work. He was pretty much engaged till the end, and she didn't even know he was no longer engaged until literally the last 2 minutes of the movie. So to me, that doesn't set up for a good romance when you think the person is engaged up until literally the last 2 minutes of the movie.
You're right. Like there was like he was kind of taking advantage of her interest because he kind of knew she was interested, actually, you know, calling him cute suit guy and stuff.
They had an almost kiss on the rooftop.
Oh my gosh, they kind of did, but she stopped every time. And so I thought she had a lot of character, a lot of depth of character, but she definitely had given her heart away to someone who was engaged, you know?
Yeah. Yes. And she did realize that for sure.
Right.
She was a person with a lot of integrity with that and with the job situation. I definitely did appreciate that.
I appreciate that a lot. Oh, this wedding, the couple that they were doing the wedding rooftop for, I thought they were so funny. They were like, you know, they're just were like these famous Instagram couple or something, but they were just so affected, you know, they were just, they believed all their hype. And so, okay, a cute scene though, wasn't it cute when she was teaching them how to use power tools, like basically like how to use tools?
Yeah. Because I'm scared I'm gonna hit my thumb. Like, you've never picked up a hammer?
I know, she's like, you might actually.
Oh goodness. My dad's was a carpenter when I was younger. So I'm like, you've never touched a hammer? How?
Right. You know, I did think this movie handled the breakup kind of well. Like they actually had a conversation between Marcus and his fiance Wendy about why they were breaking up, and they were coming to this place where they realized they didn't even really like who each other was. They want to make each other into different people. And that was an interesting scene.
Yeah, like, she was something else. She literally said, it's exhausting supporting you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was savage.
So savage. You're right. That, I don't know. I did think Deidre and Marcus had chemistry though, although it was begrudgingly cute because he was engaged, but it still was kind of cute because of Deidre to me. I just thought she was so great. Yeah.
Oh, which I forgot to say who the actors were. Deirdre is played by Jenny Raven, and Marcus is by Andrew Bushell. And I don't think I've seen either of them in anything. So fresh faces for us. Yeah.
They're new to me. And, you know, now that we know them and we know their names and we know what they've been, and we'll see them everywhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's how it starts. You see them once and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you were in that movie and then that movie. And
totally. Totally. Absolutely. So yeah, I kind of thought it was a fun idea with the rooftop gardens in the urban setting. I don't know. Maybe because Chicago's close by and I can see that up, you know. And
yeah, they were very pretty gardens.
Very pretty gardens. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I thought it was surprisingly cute. I thought it was kind of cool to see her branch out in business and,
Mhm.
you know, to start on the right foot, really, with a lot of integrity. I thought it was funny. Like you said, Jacob was funny and there's some fun dialogue and interactions. So I rated this one kind of high.
Oh, can I guess? Can I guess?
Yeah,
I feel like you probably gave it at least an 8.
I did. I did. I gave it an 8. Yes, absolutely. I'm guessing you gave it a I know it was low. I'm wondering if it was your least favorite of the 4. Okay, it was. I think at a 3.
A 2.
I do.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I think it was just I didn't find them likable. Well, mostly Marcus. I mean, even toward the end, he like went off on her because she was gone in the morning, and I'm like, dude, chill.
I know. Okay, buddy. Okay, calm down. I mean, to his credit, that was like their big day. They were supposed to, and then she took another kind of job interview that morning because she thought she could do it all. But he redeemed himself a little bit. He gave her like a really great glowing letter of
That
recommendation.
is true. He did have some redemption there.
A little redemption there, but I
So
mean,
yeah,
a 2. What else?
I think we saw this movie through very different lenses. It's all about perspective, and I apparently focused on the bad, the negatives.
Totally did. Oh no. And I saw like I think just that was it. I had low expectations going in and I was just really charmed by Deidre. I'm excited to see her in something else with possibly a more likable hero.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I would give it a shot.
Good.
But yeah, but it just shows it's all subjective. Movies are all subjective. So
It's all subjective. And if anyone's listening to this who liked it, like me, and it was they found it kind of enjoyable, like let us know. If anyone had thought like Jess and it was like super low on their October movie list, let us know that too. We're always so interested in your opinion as well.
yes, and I think we should then move on to controversial movie number 2, in which Kari and I basically flip. Calling for Love, starring Carissa Lee Staples and Taj Bello. Successful podcast host Samantha D'Souza has a passion for music and an aversion to romance after a recent and bad experience. Just when her show is thriving, she is thrown in the deep end by her boss and reassigned to host Heartwaves, a feel-good love song show with a segment that reunites lost loves. Despite her initial lack of enthusiasm, her first caller is the charismatic and charming Jake, who has a problem she's determined to help solve. What they didn't expect was to fall for each other in the process. Now Sam must decide whether to shy away from love again or to be a little more spontaneous and follow her heart. All right, Kari, hit me with why you didn't like this movie.
You know what? It's not as low as you think.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not as low as you think. I thought going in, I was like, oh, I'm gonna like this one. I love the color situation. I love the he's trying to find this girl that he's never really hung out with too much, but he just thinks it was love at first sight. And yet here's this buddy, it's a job, but here's this other girl, Sam, who's going to help him, and they end up falling for each other. Like, I usually love movies like that, a road trip, that type of thing. I think I was just I think it kind of dragged on to me a little bit. I was surprised that they actually found this Becky like a half hour into the movie. They actually did find her.
Yeah.
I thought that would be like this big reveal at the end,
Mm-hmm.
So after that, it kind of just plodded along. I did not like the choices he was making. Like, he was falling for Sam, and yet he was going through the motions with Becky because he felt like he had to. But he was Mr. Romantic, and so don't you think he'd follow his heart and say, "Actually, I fell for this girl." I don't know. Like,
I will agree that is one decision I had a hard time wrapping my brain around, was him going like they just were instantly getting married, and I was like, what? I will agree with you there. I just didn't care because I liked everything else. I was able to overlook that.
Exactly. That was such a funny scene to me where this girl Becky, and we find out that she's totally big on social media, or she wants to be big on social media, and so that's why she goes along with this thing. Like, he's just this opportunity for her to grow her
famous.
yeah, to be insta famous. But they are standing in their wedding clothes, like almost about to go and like get married, and they both finally realize we don't want to do this, and she goes, yeah, I think I might have taken it a little too far. And I'm like, you're in your wedding dress, like, of course you took it too far, you think. So the fun thing was, though, and I think maybe this is why you liked it, because I want you to tell us why. He was the romantic, she was the cynic. Okay, talk about that.
That worked for me. And this is the funny part. I was the opposite of you. Within the first 5 minutes of this movie, I was like, I don't think I'm going to like this. I was already kind of annoyed with her character because she was all like, I don't know. She wasn't even trying for this other show or podcast or whatever. I'm like, come on, you can do better, girl. Like, don't dash this poor guy's hopes and dreams. But I think it worked because like Jake was so like free-spirited and fun. He was like the romantic, and I was just like, I don't know, I found that really endearing. And I think for me too, and they had those cute little names of Jumpstart Jake and Breakdown Becky.
That was so cute.
But I think Sam like eventually worked for me because I saw myself in her, because I'm not the romantic. I am a little more cynical, and I don't even know if I would say she's cynical. She just like had the belief that time, hard work, and connection were more important than like fleeting feelings, which I'm like, yes, preach it, girl.
Right. And even her like speech at the end was really good. She was like, you know what? It wasn't a lightning bolt. It wasn't butterflies in my stomach. It wasn't all that. But over the time that we hung out and that we got to know each other, that's when I realized this is real. And I have to acknowledge it's real, So that was cool, because that is the experience of a lot of people.
Yeah. And I just thought too, they had fantastic chemistry. So
yeah, they did. When she came out in that pink dress and he was like, wow, like, usually those moments to me are a little like just Hollywood cinematic, like, totally built up. But that was like, oh, he believes that. He great.
Yeah. I also thought they had a pretty good conflict scene, because I love a little drama too. And I felt like this was a really dramatic moment, not like an overdone dramatic moment, but like, I was like, oh my goodness, like this feels really real. Especially when he said, is this too much magic for you? And she said, no, not a trace of it. And I'm like,
not a trace of it. They had a great argument scene, and sometimes the argument scenes bother me because it's like, I know you so well after 3 days, and I'm like, no, you don't. But this one was good. That said the right things, and they pushed each other's buttons, and it's almost like they didn't know how to stop and say, I actually really like you. That's why I'm feeling this way. Like they didn't understand their own hearts yet.
Yeah.
So you're right. That was good. It was very good. He was really, really fun. And he just made love easy, I think, for her. And it hadn't been easy yet. Right?
Yeah.
Like with a breakup or something.
Yeah, I think she had like a whirlwind romance. I think that was it. And that's why she was like, you can't just, rely on those feelings.
That's right.
Because it didn't work out for her.
So my question was, halfway through, I'm like, okay, so you're a mechanic. You met this elusive Becky, helping her roadside assistance type of thing, fixing her car. Do you not have a bill for the... Do you not have her name and address on this bill? Like,
maybe it was pro bono. He just helped her really quick. It was a super easy fix. So I think we can swing that.
Pro bono.
It was on the house, Kari. It was on the house.
It was on the house, as they like to do. That's funny. Okay, so the end was like everybody gave a speech, like everybody. had a moment to give a speech, and it got a little long for me, but they were saying good things.
Yeah. I think I liked his speech the most. Like when he came into her office, I was just like, I'm feeling a little romantic right now. And that's weird for me.
Well, I like this movie better hearing you talk about it.
So I thought it was cute. Like he was just so charming.
Yes.
How can you say no to him? I don't know.
He was very charming, and I liked how his brother and this Kathy, the show producer, kind of got together at the end. I thought that was really kind of cute.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I believed the big stir that it caused. You know, everybody's talking about it, national news, everybody, you know, I was like, I'm not sure about that, but you know, that's kind of fun. His kiss and smooth moves at the end were great.
Very much so.
Yeah. That knocked me up about half a point, actually. I was like, this is okay. I know. I'm like, he was so smooth, and he like swung her in for this kiss, and because that's the thing. He's not gonna not be romantic now that he was with someone who was like cynical. You know, he's gonna be himself and bring her into the joy of a new romance, and she was all for it because she's not romantic. She just was hurt before.
Yeah, so. She was just cautious.
She was cautious. Yes.
All right.
So you were so surprised that you liked this movie so much, and you just gave you great feelings.
Yes, it did. It totally surprised me. I was like, I'm not gonna like this, but they pulled it off for me. It was the good chemistry.
They did.
Made it work. So
I love that. This one goes down in history, folks. One Jeff really liked. I think that's great.
Yeah. So I ended up giving it 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Wonderful. Okay, that's great. I ended up with a 5.5 out of 10.
Oh, that's not that bad.
No, see, I told you it wasn't that we're not polar opposites on it. I just thought it was definitely a cute movie. There were things that really worked for me. There were questions I had, things that I was like, it got a little long at some points, but definitely the chemistry of the two characters was great. And that just really, their scenes together carried it.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Next movie, Eat, Drink, and Be Married. Just 3 days out from their wedding day, Jess and Max are ready to call it quits from the out-of-control planning. They visit Billy, the owner of a wedding donation company specializing in donating leftover wedding elements to those in need. However, Max's brother Charlie will stop at nothing to keep them together. He enlists the help of Billy to ensure this meant-to-be couple gets hitched once and for all. And this one stars Jocelyn Hooden from When Hope Calls, so she's pretty familiar, and Jake Foy, who I know I've seen somewhere, but I can't place him.
I know.
I should have looked up his IMDb, but I didn't.
I should too. In fact, I'm going to look it up right now. But his whole face changed when he smiled. Like when he smiled, he just like, it just was open and just so handsome. Not that he's not handsome without a smile, but I was like, oh, hey, maybe I think I've seen him before.
Yeah.
I recognize that smile. So I will look this up, but did you, how did you like this movie?
This one it was okay. I'm a little torn on it. It was a solid movie. I really like the leads. I like them together. I think I was just kind of confused a little bit with this story. My biggest question is, why is Charlie so invested in his brother's relationship? Because he is going to some great lengths to keep these two together. And I can't say I would do the same. Sorry to my sister. I'm like, oh, okay. You're not feeling it? Sure. But so I think that was a little like weird to me. And then I wasn't really sure why. I mean, I know like obviously these two were going to end up together, Max and Jess, even though they were breaking it off. But I found it a little odd that they would do all of these activities when they had just broken because I feel like they would not want to see each other.
Right, that's true. And I think some of it had to do with their desire to repurpose their wedding,
Which is a great
interior,
idea.
which is so cool
Yeah.
because yeah, you don't if you have all these centerpieces or something and you can repurpose them in a way. I think her thing with the repurposing business that she does was get the bride and groom involved with the donations so that they could see where they go. So for her, I don't know, that was kind of a ruse. Like let's force them to spend time together, right?
Yeah.
And tell them they have to be here doing these things. But they hadn't even used their wedding stuff yet. They were basically giving everything away for free.
Yeah. And I'm like, I feel like, I mean, I guess I don't know because I never been married, but I'm like, is it really not possible they couldn't cancel some of this stuff?
Yeah. And I think they really could. Okay, so this our guy, Charlie, he at one point had said, you know, his dad died, his mom died, and now it's just him and his brother. But he said something about her being in the family for a long time. Well, she's been in the family for a long time, you know, so it's I can't imagine him kind of being like, okay, I don't want to lose her too. There would be a sense that he
okay.
Yeah.
Like I can see that. Okay.
They really are good together. I don't know. I mean, yeah, they were definitely, it was kind of cute to see them fall back in love, Max and Jess, as they went on, and they were like, actually we love these things about each other that we're bothered with right now. We actually love them about each other. But so that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that did work for this movie is that the secondary couple was just as cute as the primary couple.
They were, yes, they were. And I kind of like that the wedding shenanigans and all that stuff were, you know, Billy and Charlie were removed from that enough. Like they had this like this ulterior motive for the wedding stuff. And it wasn't just like, let's just throw this perfect wedding for them. Like it was, they wanted to kind of manipulate the situation, so they were fun. I love her.
Yeah.
She's great. Did her parents look like a lot older than her? I mean, was she a surprise baby?
Possibly.
Possibly. We don't get that story.
It might just be because I think she looks very young, probably for however old she actually is.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I thought they had great chemistry together, the two of them.
And her dog was so cute.
Dog.
And he wouldn't take the bacon. I'm like, that's got to be one well-trained dog.
I know. And each time Charlie comes in, he like tries to endear himself to this dog, but the dog's not having it. Yeah. I will say this was the smallest and shortest flower fight I've ever seen.
Was it an acceptable flower fight to you, or is this a no-no for Kari?
Yes, it was acceptable because they were kind of like,
hold the phones, people. This is a landmark moment.
No, I mean, this is I can get behind this flower fight because it was kind of like flirty. They had just said, wow, this kitchen's a mess. Oh my gosh, we have to clean it up, because it already was kind of a mess. And then she like takes this flower and she just like gets him on his clothes, maybe like on his arm. And then he kind of retaliates a little bit and they laugh. And then they start cleaning up. I'm like, yes, you know, it's not this vicious in the face flower.
Handfuls on the floor.
Handfuls on the counter that we just acknowledged was a mess, and none of us want to be here cleaning it up, you know? Yeah. I was like, oh, it's done. Like I had my notes ready to like take like, what kind of flower fight is this? And it was done. I was like, well, there you go. Okay. And now let's clean up and move on. Wonderful.
Were you able to find out where he is, what movie or any movies he was in?
Yes, he wasn't a lead in anything lately, but he was in a little daytime drama, which just premiered on Hallmark Channel, and he was in Love in Store. He was in Batwoman. Oh, that's coming out. Never mind. That's coming out. I was like, I've never heard of Batwoman. Okay. He was in Rain, that movie Rain,
Okay.
In the Dark, Murdoch, Star Trek, Minority Report, Arrow. Maybe you watch Arrow.
My family does, but I don't. But
He-
it might be from the daytime drama because that one's probably the most fresh.
yeah, that was fresh. I mean, he almost looks like a mix between like Paul Rudd and I don't know, someone else. I mean, like
Well, that's already quite a
Shia
compliment
LaBeouf.
there. So
Like he has such recognizable features. But yeah, he was sweet, he was charming.
Mhm.
He really liked her. He liked her first, I think, in this movie.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and we have the whole storyline too of her building is like closing, and this building is very important to her because it's like been in the family and all of that. And so he's trying to like work it out so she can buy it, and then his uncle who like runs the business is like, no, we're gonna turn it into condos. And here's another part where I was a little confused. When she overhears the conversation between him and the like assistant guy,
Yeah.
I forget what his name was, she hears him being very dumbfounded about like what's happening, and I was a little confused why she felt so betrayed.
I
Can you shed some
know.
light on that? Because I'm
I
like,
know.
he literally is like, what can we do to fix this?
I know. He's like, oh no, I didn't want this to happen. How am I going to tell her or whatever? And she's so mad. But I think just the fact that he knew
And didn't
way,
give her a heads up.
yeah, didn't even give her heads up, didn't even like, he totally knew what his company was doing
Right.
and didn't like tell her. But he thought he could save it. He thought he could have time and buy time and stuff. So
yeah, he thought he could do it. But it's okay because she did it herself. She made it a historical landmark.
she did, which was a great idea. Why didn't she think of that before? So she made a historical landmark. I was like, all right, we're going historic landmark, baby. And
Right.
she saved it.
Mm-hmm.
So there were some really tender scenes, I thought, with her parents.
Yes.
Her dad was losing his memory, starting early onset dementia. And Charlie saw it at one point and realized what she was dealing with at home.
Right.
So that was really tender.
For sure. For
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what else worked for you in this movie?
I mean, I think like the biggest part was like the two couples. I thought there was a really cute scene where like they went out to dinner and she actually talks about how she got into her line of work. I thought that was really super sweet, and they have their almost kiss.
Uh-huh.
So
That's true.
yeah.
That's true. And both of them were free and single. They're not seeing anybody else.
Right. There's no conflicting people. They are free.
Yes, they were. But you know what? At least we could like cheer them on in that. And be like, okay. They're ready for each other. That was fun.
Anything else you want to mention before we go to ratings?
Well, I think she just played such a great character. Sometimes I know there's one movie of hers that I did not enjoy her in, her character, because I really like her as an actress. I think she can really carry a movie. But this character was fun. She was purposeful. She was business oriented. She was happy. You know, she was a real happy character.
She's very confident in herself too.
Yes, confident in herself. She made a friend along the way in the sister-in-law, and I just liked her a lot. So I was happy to see like, oh good, oh I like this, oh I'm so glad, you know. So I did. You know, I gave it a 6 out of 10. And
Me too.
You did? Oh good. This was just a good movie.
Solid movie.
Solid movie. Yes. Oh, so why did you give it a 6 out of 10?
I mean, like I said, I think it was the chemistry. The storyline was the only thing that kind of hung me up a little bit, but you know, the characters were good enough that I was like, it's all good.
Yeah.
I can just pretend it makes sense to me.
I know. And I'm happy for them. I can see them moving on as like this great, like, you know, friend group, but they're brothers, and then now they're family and stuff. And that was great.
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's see how we mesh for this last one. All right, we end with a picture perfect wedding. Wedding photographer Lindsay gets her big opportunity when a New York mogul's son, Josh, asks her to shoot his sister's wedding. Sparks fly as Josh and Lindsay prepare for the ceremony, and the pair begin to fall for each other. But as the big day arrives and the project finishes, do they go back to their old separate lives, or will they follow their hearts? This one stars Emily Tennant, who was in something. Oh shoot, she was in an Up to Meet movie
That we watched and reviewed together.
Mechanics of Love. She was the sister getting married.
She was Mechanics of Love. I have never seen that one.
Oh, you have? Oh yeah, that was before your time.
But that's why I like looked it up one time, like where can I find this Mechanics of Love? But I can't find it actually anywhere. Maybe I'd pay for it. Maybe I'd have to pay for it somewhere.
Maybe they'll air it again sometime, because that is a good one.
Okay.
And the male lead is Tyler Johnston, who's also super familiar. I didn't look him up either. I should do that.
Yeah.
I know I've seen him somewhere. He's been in one of these movies.
Yes. So he just has such a unique look to me. Like, and sometimes he looks really young, but then he just acted and carried himself really well and really professionally. And I couldn't tell sometimes, like, do I like them together? Do I think they have chemistry? And I would just kind of oscillate back and forth. But their best scene together, I think, was their meet cute at the beginning. When
yes,
that was their best scene together. They had really nice chemistry, and she was confident but flirty. She was trying to get this job, selling him a book, and you could totally tell he was interested, but he was also trying to book a photographer for her sister's wedding. That was fun to me. I thought that was their best scene together.
Yeah. Yeah, I recognize him from an episode of Flashpoint, and I just learned that he hasn't been as much like any in this genre, I don't think, except for one episode of, or one of the Aurora Teagarden movies.
Oh, okay.
So apparently it was Flashpoint though that I remember him from. Anyway though, yeah, so she's photographing his sister's wedding. He's got this like sort of girlfriend, which was kind of confusing because they weren't really together. No. But then what was her name? Bronwyn, thank you. She also kind of thought he was gonna propose, but they had this huge history, so their relationship was a little confusing. I never really knew what was going on.
I know. I think they were the type of family, like two rich families growing up, and they always kind of would set aside for each other, destined for each other. Yep. But he kind of was saying, they had an on again, off again relationship, but they would always get off again. And that's what was holding him up from actually seeing a future with her. Because he's like, it always ends. We always break up. We always fight. We always, So that's good.
Yeah. We also have another familiar face in this movie. Loretta Walsh from When Calls the Heart plays Maxine, the very tough to impress wedding planner.
Yes.
So I thought that was really fun to see her play that. I'm like, I miss you as Flo though.
I know. Totally different characters, right?
Yes, totally different. But that was kind of fun. And yeah, I mean, most of it, this is kind of like a tried and true wedding movie. You have the dress trying on stuff, all the photography, photograph the wedding. And I think that's probably a large reason of why I really couldn't get invested in this movie. It was too wedding focused. And ultimately I felt like Josh and Lindsay worked better as friends than as romantic partners.
Yeah, I can see that. You know what story I wanted this to be about? I wanted it to be about Maxine the boss and Lindsay, the up and coming photographer, almost like a Devil Wears Prada type of movie,
I like that. Yeah.
Because they had those moments where she's like this hard-nosed boss, but then she kind of gets soft and they connect a little bit.
Right.
And then she really gets soft and Lindsay actually has to come help her.
Right.
And,
save
the day at the end. And so I was like, oh, that's the movie I want to be watching, is this Devil Wears Prada type of movie. Yeah. I never really I never really like the ones where it's like, you know, baby girl gets everything her heart's desires with her wedding. We're gonna like make her dreams come true here, you know. Um, I deserve it. I don't know, like, and that kind of bothered me a little bit. I'm like, what do you, what's happening? But then she showed some character with like she's really smart business lady. Actually,
Mhm.
she's gonna take over the family business instead of Josh. That's a better fit. He's gonna do his architecture. So it all kind of shook out to me at the end. Like,
Yeah.
I can handle that. The dad was hilarious to me. He was a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you think he's going to be the one who's like, oh no, the son, he doesn't want to take the family business. And he's like, oh no, I just needed to see like who really wanted it. And I was like, oh, that's different.
Uh-huh. I know. And he didn't really want it. And so sure enough, his sister was able to step in and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was a tad bit bothered when Lindsay like left the wedding to go shoot for Vogue because that's such a great opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But then on her way there, she changes her mind again and leaves that job to go back to this other thing. And I was like, oh, this doesn't look good for anybody. Like
Yeah.
leaving jobs all over the place.
Yeah.
I was like,
And like I kind of got her dilemma, but it was like, I don't know. I was almost like, girl, go to Vogue. Like you got to jumpstart your career. I mean, I guess she wanted to be there for Hannah, but I think it would have made more sense to me if she was like, if she knew that she was going to be the one photographing the wedding, because she didn't at that point until she got there, right?
right. But she had been like, she had made friends with the sister, and so she wanted to be there. Really, it was more for personal reasons rather than business reasons and stuff. And
it was a bit of a 360 because she's like, I care about Vogue. This is great. And then she's like, no, I don't care about Vogue.
yeah, actually, I don't care.
But it's Vogue. I mean, I was never one of the people who ever read Vogue, but
right.
I still know it's important.
I do think that they kind of had an immediate connection right away as artists, which was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Him with his architect, but he appreciated her perspective and everything she was doing with her photography, and you know, that was kind of a cool connection.
Yeah, and it was cute that he like saw in her what Maxine couldn't see and what she didn't even really see in herself. I mean, she had that moment where she's like, I'm a mediocre photographer, and I was like, no, like, you know, everyone kind of has those moments where you would like feel like you're not good at what you're doing, but I was like, that's really different too.
Yeah,
I mean, she really came down hard on herself all of a sudden. I was like, no.
Yeah, I know. I know, but I like that artist section. You know, the kind of the piece to their relationship was kind of cool. But they did end up throwing this kind of sad little wedding at the end, like for being the best wedding planner in the country. I was like, oh, this is the best you could do. But really, she burned bridges the whole time, this boss lady, right? She made a big mistake and sent most of her vendors to a different city.
Yeah, or a state even, maybe. I don't even know. I didn't even know where they were located, but it made it sound like it was definitely very far away.
Very far away. She sent them to a different place. And so she was kind of, you know, she had no control over what was happening now. And Lindsay was like, well, no, we're going to do this. We're going to throw a great wedding, and ended up being fine. But I was like, Daddy did not get his money's worth.
But he was okay with it. He thought it was interesting.
Yeah, this one I kind of had low expectations for, and you know, nothing except the boss lady really kind of, Loretta Walsh's character kind of bumped that up for me.
Yeah, she was fun.
She was so fun. Any other thoughts about this movie?
I don't think so. They had a pretty short time before they got engaged, only 4 months. I know that's pretty typical in these kind of movies. I'm like, that's a short time.
That was short. That was so short.
Oh,
yeah.
Especially when he'd been on again, off again with someone for years. It's like, man, he commits quick.
You know, Jess, when you know, you know. That's what they keep saying in these movies. When you know, you know.
That was that was from the Calling in Love, or what was it called? The
Yep.
podcast movie.
Yeah.
You know.
When you know, you know. And that was the frustrating thing about that movie, the Calling for Love, because like she said, he did know. She's like, don't you know? Like, you do know. You keep
see what's happening here.
You keep saying that, but you're not acting on it. But anyway,
we digress.
Yes, we digress. We've already rated that movie.
All right. I'll give my rating first. 4.5.
Ooh, that's great. I mean, it's a half.
I thought they were cute. Like they were cute. They just were cute as friends to me.
Yep.
So
I give it a 4.
Okay.
Yep. So very close, but I gave it 4 because I think it was just a bit boring at times for me. Just the wedding movie and the plans and how we're gonna do this and you know, Loretta Walsh was exciting. Her character was exciting. Her character development over the whole movie was kind of fun. You know, just when you think things are going well, there's like this misunderstanding. She thinks she sees that he proposes, but he doesn't. And
yeah,
I was like,
which I think if she was going to misinterpret that, it would have made more sense if she had known he had a ring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, 4 out of 10 for me. There definitely have some cute parts. So, you know, not the worst of the worst, but it was kind of cute.
For sure. Well, that wraps up our October movies, which means it's time to go into Christmas.
Okay, let's go to Up Christmas, and be sure you listen to our Christmas preview show that's dropping for 12 Up movies that are going to premiere these next over the next 2 months. It was 12, wasn't it, Jess?
I think I said 12, but it's actually 11. I think I'm
is it 11? Okay, yeah.
So my bad. But yes, we're in full Christmas mode in Hallmarkies, and I am my personal life because it is October 30th and I'm already listening to Christmas music.
Yay!
Don't judge me.
No judgment. We've got one day tomorrow, we've got fall, and then I do this half and half fall Christmassy type of thing going into November. So
yeah. So let us know your thoughts on these movies. I think we really need you to weigh in on the Sky Gardens ones. Let us know if you're team Kari or team Jess on that movie. We need to know, since we were so different in our ratings. So yeah, leave a comment. Check us out on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and follow us on all of our other social media platforms. And stay tuned for all the fun Christmas stuff coming. And Kari, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at Hallmark Comics. That's Hallmark_comics.
Awesome. And you can find me at Jess BSW blog on Twitter and Instagram. So we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.